Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining in today. We are here to discuss a very important topic, which is childcare compliance across organizations. So, organizations across India are currently navigating compliance childcare provisions under the Maternity Benefit Act, reinforced within the Social Security Code of 2020. While the law is clear on intent, many organizations are still seeking pa- practical clarity on what effective implementation actually looks like on the ground. Consider this. If your organization operates across multiple office locations, follows a hybrid work model, or has relatively small number of eligible employees in certain cities, the responsibility to ensure compliant childcare access still rests with you as the employer. The structure may vary, but the onus does not. This is where many questions emerge, and I'm sure all of you who have joined today have these questions in your mind. These questions are around access versus infrastructure, one of a very important question, funding responsibility, coverage across employee groups, and how compliance holds up during audits or inspections. Again, it's very pertinent topic. So these are no longer decisions confined to policy documents. They increasingly influence trust, inclusion, and organizational credibility. Today's session is designed to bring clarity to this landscape. We will look at what the law expects, how organizations are interpreting it in practice, and how childcare support can be structured in a way that it is both compliant and workable. To guide us through this, we are joined by Ketika Kapoor, co-founder and CEO of ProEves, who brings extensive on-ground experience working with organizations across industries on childcare, compliance, and benefit design. With that, I hand over to you, Ketika. Thank you for joining us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Nupur. I'd be happy to take the audience through all that you described right now. Let me first share the screen and see if the presentations are visible to everyone. If we could have a quick thumbs up, you all can see the presentation. Super. And Nupur's already introduced a bit in terms of what the agenda of today's webinar is. I'll do a quick introduction about myself. So I am the CEO of ProEves, and ProEves is the largest network of daycare and childcare providers in India, which means that we facilitate the daycare decision making for most and all of the working parents in India. We work with greater than 100 organizations to ensure compliance on the daycare and the childcare benefit, which is a fairly new benefit, has come into existence since 2017. But we are, the only experts in this area that have repeatedly done surveys, worked with the government, as well as worked with organizations to make this benefit implementable and to also interpret in the right lens for all the parents, employees, as well as the organization. So the structure of today's webinar will be to talk you through three important points. We will first spend some time on the law, because I think as employers, it's really important to understand what exactly the law requires for you to do, right? Because not everything in the law is spelled out very clearly. So as an organization, what is it that you're expected to do? So we'll understand that. We'll spend some time on the market trends, exactly what the market is doing. So while the law expects you to do a particular thing, then what is it that the other companies in India Inc. is doing for you to also define your way forward with respect to this benefit? And finally, a brief glimpse into what ProEves does as a solution for a lot of the organizations that we work with to also help you demystify this entire mystery around childcare benefit. why does childcare matter, right? I think one of the things we've heard organizations ask us very simple two truths on this. Why is it that you have to, as HR practitioners and as HR benefit leads or as HR leaders, spend some time on the childcare benefit? Working parents actually constitute almost 40 to 50% of your workforce. So it is a benefit which is a very relevant benefit for you all as employers and as HR leaders. In fact, when we look at the working parents and we've asked them, what is it that is a top priority for you when we're looking at engaging you as employees or retaining you as employees, the answer in the top three has always been childcare. In addition to flexibility and flexible work arrangement, as well as line manager support or organization support. So childcare has over the last decade always been one of the top three priorities that working parents look forward to in an organization, which is the reason as HR leaders, we really need to invest our effort and time in solving the childcare benefit equation for our organizations. Secondly, it's no longer a good to have, right? It's a need to have. We've had the law in place since 2017. And since then, the law has repeatedly focused and the government has repeatedly focused in enforcing the childcare and the creche benefit. So it's something that all of us as employers have to eventually get to. While the implementation impetus is clear, but I think the guidelines in terms of how to make that work is something where all of us need more clarity. And that's why we're having this webinar to understand how can you all get started on that journey. The law, just to give you a brief landscape in terms of how the law evolved. So in 2017, we had the revised Maternity Benefit Act that came into being. So this is when the childcare benefit existed and as an existence started. So that's the first law that came into being, which resulted in all of us thinking about the creche benefit, because it had a small clause that talked about that as employers, you do have to provide a creche to all your employees as long as your office has more than 50 employees. So that was the creche clause that was introduced in 2017 as part of the revised Maternity Benefit Act. Since then, from 2017 onwards to 2019, there have been further a lot of state guidelines that have come into being. And the state guidelines have been in the state of Karnataka, where the rules that came through. We had the rules coming through in the Shops and Establishment Act in Maharashtra. We had further rules that came in Tamil Nadu, in Telangana. We had the draft Haryana rules. So all the states that are the important states where a lot of us would have our offices have come up with either the rules or draft rules which define for you as an employer what is it that you need to do with respect to the Creche Act. In addition to that, we've also had central guidelines. We had the national minimum guidelines that came into being in 2019, and we also had the national minimum standards and protocol that came into being as late as 2024. So over the last 6 to 7 years, there's been a continuous focus from the government on repeatedly reinforcing it for India Inc. and for employers that the creche law is not disappearing anywhere. It's very much there. It started as a journey in 2017, and since then, through state laws as well as the national guidelines, it has only gotten reinforced. It's further reinforced in the codes that have come into being as late as November 2025, and we'll talk about that as well. But briefly, across all of these laws, a few things remain constant. As an employer, you have to provide the creche benefit for children of working parents within the age of 6 months to 6 years. So that's something that's been very clear for the government that they've provided to you. Now, as an organization, what is it that you need to provide with respect to the creche benefit? Again, over here, the government's given you a few options as employers. The first guidance that came into being was that as an organization, you have to provide daycare within 500 meters from your office. But since then, there have been several central guidelines that have come into being, which has brought in a bit of a flexibility, and the organizations are encouraged to provide a daycare within the 500-meter radius of the office or the office site, or within the 500-meter radius near the home of the employee. So both options are available from a flexibility perspective, which is support your employees near home at 500 meters or support your employees near the office site or the organization office at 500 meters. Employees that are covered as per the law is also well defined across all the laws that permanent, temporary, regular, daily wage, contract, and all employees under the law. The law is also gender agnostic, while it sits under the Maternity Benefit Act, but all guidelines that are thereafter have all for be provided by employer, whatever that means is with respect to the creche benefit. So this is a gender agnostic benefit as far as the legal is concerned. Creche funding. So this was also something which was very debatable at the beginning when the law came into being in 2017. A lot of organizations supporting a creche would be sufficient. But thereafter, there was an RTI issued by the government, and that's very much in public domain right now. Where creche is a benefit has to be provided entirely by the employer. So therefore, that also made it very clear that the funding of the creche benefit has to be done by the employer, and it's not only limited to access provision around the daycare, that there's a room provided or there's a daycare name that we've provided under the benefit. It has to be funded also as per the definition under the law. So these are the main and the most important points which have repeatedly remained the same across the last 6 to 7 years as far as the law is concerned, and that hasn't changed. Now, what does the labor code really talk about? So the labor code actually has made it simple for us, and it's reinforced for the in the last slide, but it's made the interpretation of the law again simple. Organization provide offices with greater than 50 employees. It has also not very other laws of come into exist last 10 years. What it has said is that as an organization, you can provide the creche at a prescribed distance, and the prescribed distance could be something that will be defined by the central guidelines. And two things that exist public guidelines, others national standards and protocol. So the organization provide near office or near home. Because they're saying that do refer the central guidelines when you're trying to decide the prescribed distance for your daycare, hence offering you as an organization the flexibility to provide a daycare near the office or near the home. So those are the interpretations available for you from the code. A, daycare needs to be provided. B, it needs to be provided the employee category definitely. C, they're agnostic, we've already talked about, and B, flexibility, near office or near home access support, both is allowed as it does refer prescribed distance as per the central guidelines, and all central guidelines have been fairly flexible, how wide, whether near the office or now we get slide. We'll just because the next few talk about the markets, we'll just quickly talk about the market trends and how we derive these market trends. So there's a survey that we and the 9th annual survey that we've done this time around the childcare and the creche benefit. So really doing, and we have 28 organizations have participated in this benefit. The next few slides will really be the trend in of week. So it's you're one of the first few employers and HR leaders to be seeing this survey trends and results. This particular slide really talks about the first we've in the survey, which is flexibility being one of the key trends we've seen in the survey emerge very strongly across organized where the organization how are you to the benefit. The organizations were very clear on this, that the daycare benefit will be provided across different percentages. And I think just from an interpretation perspective, the graph is slightly distorted. You may be able to stages. It's just from perspective displays this sort of not clear look at the near creche and the creche from anywhere, the pink percent, the pink pie chart, that's 70%. So almost 70% of the organizations, when we ask them what is it that they're doing for the daycare benefit, they said that they are implementing the daycare benefit as a near home or a creche from anywhere approach. We had around 17% of the organizations that said that they're not looking at flexibility and they're only looking at near site daycare tie-up, which means that they're going to be tying up with daycares near their offices, and that's the provision that they want to give to their employees. We had around only 1% of the organizations that said that they are going to be doing implementation like an on-site daycare, which means that within the office premise, they're going to be having a daycare setup that they will provide. And we have around 12% of the organizations that said that reimbursement or allowance support is the support that they're seeking and providing with respect to their employees as far as the creche benefit is concerned. Now, you clearly see that, in line with what the government's expecting, which is more flexibility for the employers, the India Inc.'s reaction to the benefit is also very similar. Most of the organizations are implementing a flexible option, and there are clearly three main reasons to be doing that, because the near home creche and the creche from anywhere approach, which is providing daycares near office as well as near home, really makes it simple for you as an employer to show compliance as well as becomes a benefit the employee. So as an employer, it limits your liability. You can eventually say that these daycare that the employee has chosen across a few centers that are near office and the centers that are near home is eventually endgame an employee's decision. So the employee is the one that's making the decision, and it's not the employer that's influencing the decision. So it limits your liability and passes on the liability of the daycare decision making to the employee, as against in a near site daycare tie-up where as an employer you are defining a few centers near the office and the center B, and those two centers or those three centers are what are being passed on to the employee. So there's obviously a higher liability as an organization that you carry, that you are the ones that are defining these centers, and the employees eventually choosing centers from this decision making that you've already done for the employer. So therefore the flexible approach really limits liability, where the employee picks up a larger liability. The second reason why it's dominating as a trend is it really limits the questions on transportation support. So in the recent past, all the organizations that were doing any kind of implementation by way of on-site daycare or tying up with daycares near the office, struggling on the answer of provide transport to the parents, right? How to pair to the office. And, especially with the traffic situation, the way it is in Delhi NCR, the pollution situation, the way it is, Bangalore traffic, Mumbai traffic, we're all aware of how bad it is. So parents struggle a lot when they have to travel with the children. And that's where we've seen that the employers really cannot offer any kind of travel or transport allowance or travel or transport support by way of providing any kind of a company funded travel support program, which is the reason, again, one of the specific answers that employers do give on this particular benefit is that while we can't solve for your travel, you have to figure that out yourself as an employee. However, we can give you flexibility. So as an employee, you're not forced to get your child to the daycare in your office. You can decide if travel is something that you can work out. You can travel with the child. Please do take the center that's available near office. But if you are unable to travel with the child, then please do take the center that's near the home. So reasons why organizations have also gone flexible, because they don't want to again solve for travel or transport. They're saying that we'll let the employee solve for it as long as we're giving flexibility. That is what matters. The third reason for why this is becoming one of the most trends in the recent past on daycare benefit is feed. So again, as an few daycare employees do at times to the it could be around staff-child ratios, it could be around CCTV, it could be around the quality. Usually that's deciding center A, center B, center senior offices available for the parents. As against in the flexible approach, it's the employee choosing the daycare for their themselves, which means for their children, because they know their child the best. So therefore, in this case, we've seen that the grievances and the complaints with respect to the CREST Center are hardly any. In fact, 2/3 less grievances across the entire data set of 10,000 parents that we as ProEve service every single month. So that's kind of relevance in terms of implementation that the flexible approach has. When we look at, the flexible benefit implementation approach with respect to the CREST benefit, we've also, looked at the funding pattern. So how is it that the this over here funding and talked about laws very clear on funding, that as an employer, you have to fund this benefit, which essentially means as an employer, 100% of the funding obligation sits with you. But when we look at the funding prevalent practice, and that's the first, part you, you the so around 50% of the organizations, around 10% of the organization, push funding gap, which means not the benefit, saying that because this is early years for the benefits just started, some of the laws are evolving. So as an employer, we're also starting our intent to comply on this benefit. So we will either be the primary or an equal contributor in the benefit by way of co-sharing the benefit, or we will fund the benefit, but with a cap, which means that there will be an amount that we will decide for our employees basis our judgment, basis the daycare fee averages that sit in the city that we operate in. Right. Around 12% of the organizations have said that they will fully pay the benefit, which means that whatever the daycare fee is, they will pay that for their employees because they want to be compliant from day one. So that's going to be around 12% of the organization. We have around only as much as 1% of the organizations that are saying that they want to not fund the benefit and just pass it on as an access support where the employee picks it up as a funding opportunity. So this is really no benefit, which is the reason you only have 1%, because obviously this is non-compliant. And we have around 8% of the companies that have plans to fund the benefit when they answer the survey, which means the next year is when they're starting their journey on compliance and ensuring that funding will be an important part of their childcare and daycare benefit plan. So that's really, the funding trend that we are seeing across the survey that we've recently done. Now, if we look at how co-share is working. So as an employer, if you've decided to co-share, which is partly pay for the daycare fee, we have around 75%, 74% of the organizations that are funding greater than 50%, which means that from a compliance perspective, they're either equally funding the benefit or at a primary contributor funding up to 60%. So really greater than 50% would mean 50 or 60% of the daycare fee is being picked up by the employer. So that is where they're showing you their highest intent to comply by being either an equal contributor to the daycare fee or being a primary contributor. We have a few organizations which are on different journeys towards the co-share as well. So around 11% that are saying that they're right now funding the benefit at 20 to 40% of the daycare fee. And we have around, again, another 16% that is saying they're funding the benefit at around 40 to 50% of, the daycare fee that is there. So again, the dominant contribution continues to be primary or equal contributor to the daycare fee. That's what the compliance requires for you to do. And that's the highest intent journey on compliance as an organization that you can depict. Now, for those organizations that are saying that, we would want to give a particular amount, right? That's really the journey that we would want to pick up from a daycare fee perspective. We see the trend as a bit of an equal division. So we have around 56% of the companies that are saying that they fund almost as much as 10,000 to 20,000 rupees per child per month. So that's the, the bracket you see over here, which is the dominant bracket at 56%, 10,000 to 20,000 per month per child. And this is also because a lot of these organizations have the larger base across metro cities. So basically, Bangalore, Delhi, NCR, MMR is where you will see most of the employees utilizing the benefit. Also, almost 40% of the organizations have said that they are 5,000. The funding pattern that they are seeing is around 5,000 to almost 10,000 per month per child. And we have 4% of the organizations that are funding as much as greater than 20,000 rupees. Now, if you interpret the industries in terms of how industries are performing on this, funding pattern, we have the services organizations dominantly at the 40%. So the IT, ITES, services, retail, telecom, that sits more around INR 5,000 to 9,000. In terms of the actual fixed cap that they're deciding for the daycare fee. And it's the 56% that will have the FMCG, BFSI, we'll have the IT product companies, we'll have the e-commerce players, some of those industries are sitting over here at 56%. And that's the bracket of 10,000 to 20,000 per month per child that you see. Also, one of the trends that we've seen in the recent past is that when this benefit was started, because this benefit is only 3-4 years old because of the COVID situation. It went live in 2017-18, but pretty much was dormant from 2019 upwards to 2022. So really, if you do a comparative in terms of what companies were funding in 2022 versus what they're funding right now, so we see that the trend's improving. So more organizations are evolving basis feedback from parents, basis seeing that the benefits is really making an impact for their parents and is showing higher ROI for them on their parent engagement, which is the reason we see that 60% of the organizations in 22 were sitting in the bracket of 5,000 to 10,000 per month per child. And now we have the dominant bracket, which is almost around 60%, emerging as 10,000 to 20,000 per month per child. So this is obviously on account of the fact that daycare fees have increased. Secondly, also on the fact that the contribution and the commitment towards the childcare benefit is also significantly increasing, with compliance being the primary motive, but then engagement also being a fairly relevant ROI that organizations have started to see for themselves. One of the questions we get asked quite a bit is around the fact that, while the law and the state laws and the codes all have referred for this benefit to be for all employees, organizations do question us around the fact that, so this law does get inspired by the Revised Maternity Benefit Act, right? So really, is this creche or childcare benefit something that we should be giving out to our dads, or should only limit it to the working mothers? Now, again, as far as the law is concerned, when we speak to the joint secretaries and the labor authorities, they're very clear that this is a gender neutral law. And that's why repeatedly they've only referred to employees when they're referring or defining this particular benefit or this particular clause. We are now seeing that also getting interpreted very efficiently in how India Inc. is interpreting this benefit, because you again see over here around 64% of the companies are funding the benefit, that they are, they're saying that now we are funding the benefit for our dads also. We've recently added the dads into our childcare benefit, or we're planning to add the dads in the childcare benefit in the coming months. But basically, it's now becoming a dominant trend in India Inc. Everyone's realized that this is a gender agnostic benefit, and we need to sort of provide for this in the coming months, if not already. We have around 5% of the organizations that are saying that we will give this benefit to the fathers, but we'll limit it to the single fathers, because we feel that that's a category that will really require this benefit. And then we have around 31% of the organization that continue to believe that since this got inspired by the Revised Maternity Benefit Act, this is a benefit that will be more relevant for the working mothers, and they feel that the extension to the dads is something that they will only be able to provide in the coming years. So that's one of the things that we found in the survey, that why increasingly India Inc. is realizing this is a gender agnostic benefit, and they have to provide for it within months, within years, but that's something that is going to be a reality for them in the next 2 years. That's definitely answer that the survey throws towards us in terms of the practice. Now, we also tried to understand as far as the daycare benefit design is concerned, because a lot of organizations do ask us that how many organizations are able to provide the daycare within 500 meters, because the law was always talking about this distance relevance and having daycares at a particular distance. So we have this chart actually that does that exactly for you as employers, for you to understand what exactly is being done under India Inc. with respect to this benefits. That almost 60% of the organizations are saying that we really don't provide any distance relevance. We make it fully flexible. So if someone wants a daycare near the home of the parent, they pick that up. Near the organization's office, they pick that up. Near the guardian's home, they pick it up. Spouse's office, they pick it up. So we really do not catch or match distances. We require for this to be a completely flexible approach. We have around 20% of the organizations that say we are partly flexible. So we predefine certain centers and certain pin codes. So we're not completely flexible, but partly flexible, because we are the ones that are deciding that, what's the territory of daycare spread that we would want to give in as and centers available. We have around 7 giving 1 kilometer only as a reference radius for daycare spread. So they're saying any daycare under 5 kilometer from office location is what we're providing, but that's only 7%. We have around 10% of the organizations that are saying under 3 kilometers. So 1 to 3 kilometers is where they're able to provide daycares to their employees. And we have around only as little as 4% of the organizations that said that they are able to provide a daycare under 1 kilometer to their employees. So therefore, in terms of distance relevance, those that are doing anything with respect to being near on distance to their office locations, we only have as much such employers, right? Dominant spread continues to be partly flexible or fully flexible. We're giving all options near office under 5 kilometer, under 3 kilometer, or under 1 kilometer. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, Ketika, your voice, we couldn't hear you in between. Can you repeat this section, please? So your voice completely went off for some time.
Oh, is it okay? Is it audible right now?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, perfect. So basically, I'll just quickly repeat this particular slide. So as far as the daycare benefit design is concerned, a lot of the organizations do want to interpret in terms of how this is implemented from a distance relevance perspective. So we have around 60% of the organizations that are not giving any distance relevance. They're saying that we're completely fully flexible, which means that I could pick up a daycare at 500 meters near office, near home, near the guardian's home, near the spouse's office, for employees for daycare, they're fine with it. So that's full flexibility. We have around 20% of the organizations that are saying that they are certain areas and defining which daycares, slightly flexible but not completely flexible, predefining pin codes and areas and daycares that will be made available to the employees. And the remaining 20% are the ones that are only providing access of daycares at different radius distances. Means that 4% of the organizations are only providing daycare at 1 kilometer radius to their office because they are able to find such daycares. Almost 10% of the organizations providing daycares at 3 kilometer radius because they're able to find a few daycares there. And then around 7% of the organizations saying that they're able to provide daycares under the 5 kilometer radius from their office. So basically, only about 20% of the organization said that they're doing some sort of a distance relevance in terms of daycares that they're providing to their employees. Over there also, they're not able to completely comply on the 500-meter radius. So they're following different radius references of under 1 kilometer, 1 to 3 being available as well, and under 5 kilometer also being available. So again, that's also being slightly flexible in some way. When we check how that they are, that also is something that we try to understand, that are they doing it in-house, are they administering it through an outsourced partner. So we had around 65% of the organizations that said that they're outsourcing it or managing it through third-party partners, either through a company like ProEves or through a benefit partner and so on and so forth. We had only 21% of the companies that said that they are still managing the benefit themselves. So that's also one of the trends that we've seen, that this is a benefit that does have a body to the benefit, which means as an organization, You have to monitor this benefit every single month. You have to show weight with respect to which employee, which daycare, which service, what is the fee, is the daycare of compliant on particular screening parameters, how is it that we are managing the grievances, are we providing all the access support and all the facilitation support to our benefit. So there are sorts of questions that come your way when you are implementing this benefit, which if done internally, obviously gets talent for the HR team. So that's one of the reasons why we see that a lot of organizations prefer to outsource or manage this through third-party vendors when it comes to implementing brief to the things we've seen, which is if you also sort of read and understand the survey in detail, that will be available through your Pluxee's box. You can reach out to them and they will be able to give you a handout in terms of the detailed survey report. Now, while we've covered what is expected out of the law, we've covered what the basic trends are, we'll spend the next 5-10 minutes to just understand how we as an organization are working and supporting employers in this space. So we work with 100+ organizations as far as the childcare benefit management is concerned. We have a very simple platform which houses around 7,000 daycare centers across 800 cities. So any organization anywhere that's looking at implementing the daycare benefit, they can easily plug and play and build the right city spread that they would want to publish to their employees through our platform. The cities of relevance, the daycares of relevance, the distance spreads of relevance, or completely flexible. That is a decision that you as an employer take. You define the platform that you're publishing to your employees, and that's what goes live to your employees. But we as ProEves can design whatever platform and whatever design parameters you would want to look at for your employees. We are the one-stop shop for you as far as compliance is concerned, governance is concerned, and audit readiness is concerned. All the digital reporting that you'll need around the admissions MIS, the queries raised on the childcare benefit, the grievances, if any, the incident report, the declarations from the parents, or any specific indemnities from the daycares. These are all accessed and easily provided by us and through us using the platform as well as other services that we offer. We are and continue to be the largest childcare network provider, giving you full stack platform, which is a simple digital platform for your employees to access and live through the entire daycare benefit. Key strengths for us as ProEves is that we are providing you complete flexibility. So we provide through our platform both nearby centers as well as near home as well as near office centers. So anything and everything that you want to make life for your employees is available through us. If you as an organization want to start with only near office centers with center spreads of 5 kilometer, under 3 kilometer, those are also available with us. It's as simple as defining that design parameter on the platform and going live. So that's easy compliances through us. We're also one of the more affordable options because when you tie up with only a few centers, and that to a few centers near office, typical percentage or ratios that operate is that a near office center would be almost 2x the time a residence or a near home center. So therefore, in a platform approach, when you're giving larger set of choices to your employees, your budgets and your daycare spends are more controlled because the choices that the employees make are more near home, which is near the residence, which is almost half of what the near site center would or the near office center would cost you as an employer. So if the near office center is at 20,000 per month per child, a near home center would be at 10,000 rupees per month per child. So in that 1 lakh rupee, in a platform approach, you can cover 10 employees, while in a focused, that one daycare near my office approach, you will be able to cover only 5 employees in 1 lakh for the 20,000 per month per child that you are able to offer for that one center near the office. We're also that one provider for your audit-ready documentation in case of any vendor audits, labor audits, in case of any third-party audits also that you may have. We will help you with all the documentation that you will require from a compliance perspective and the rationales around why the benefit exists and how do you show the highest intent to comply. For you as an employer, in addition to all these benefits, there's indemnity controls by way of declarations that we provide both from the employees as well as from the daycare. There's reduced HR efforts also, because the entire journey with respect to the daycare, you don't have to live through. The employees will not reach out to you to how to access the daycare, how do I get hold of the daycare vendor, I'm not able to get an answer out of them, who will help me with my grievances with the daycare, they're not picking up my calls, the child services or the quality of the centers depleting day by day. These are all questions and support that we as ProEves will offer all your employees, as well as we are more convenient for the parents, because the parents also reach out to us for any and every support that they may require through the admission journey while they're living in that daycare as a daycare parent. So I've broadly talked you through this slide, but just this gives you a very nice simple flow of how ProEves works. So we as a platform allows the employees to discover the center. So they can discover the center basis the design parameters that you've decided, near office centers, near home centers, city, whatever the pin code of relevance for the employees, they can navigate that on the platform and easily discover the center of interest for themselves. The entire pre-admission journey is where they get supported through us by way of blocking of appointments, by way of references of parents that they may want to speak to better make the daycare decision, to also speak to a counselor of ProEves, because they're really just unsure about the daycare decision, whether the daycare is really the right decision for their child. So everything with respect to discovery and decision making is something that we pick up, and that's not something that you will ever be disturbed by parents. We are the ones that support them with respect to the admission journey as well, that now you can take the center access and admit your child, but before that you have to do a simple process step of declaration, which is declare that I as an employee have found the center safe enough and compliant to laws of the land and discovered it on ProEves, and will be indemnifying the organization in case of any eventualities that are there. So we do this process step on your behalf as an employer. We continue to engage with the employees through the admission and through the journey of them as a daycare parent in terms of grievances and any other incidents that they may experience. And as an employer, you obviously get monthly usage report in terms of the queries that are raised, as well as the admissions that you will approve, which will then eventually translate into payment to the daycares or funding support to the daycares in terms of a real benefit for the parent. Right. So that's how we as ProEves support. We also have lots of other solutions that we keep supporting employers with. We offer you advice with respect to compliances, policy documentation and support, employee engagement sessions around parenting and childcare, center audits and screening. So we're also the only childcare safety auditors in India, because that's a field that we specialize in. We do remote as well as physical safety audits for centers, and we are also the only end-to-end administration partners for this particular benefit. So if any of you are on the journey to show childcare benefit compliance, we are definitely the best partners. So that's it from my side. I think I'm almost there in terms of closing of the presentation. So if there's any questions.
Yeah. So thank you, Ketika. That was a very, very comprehensive walkthrough. So, one thing is very clear, that now daycare compliance, one size fits all, is not possible. So there are multiple funding models, from coverage to benefit design to management. Organizations today have multiple paths, but they also have very, very clear responsibilities, as you have, taken us through during the course of this webinar. So now we have, for the next 10 minutes, we can quickly dwell upon some questions that the audience has, some questions that we received on emails when we rolled out the webinar. So I'll, touch up upon some top 3-4 questions for you. Well, most of it you have covered as part of the webinar, but still there are certain open ends, and I'll throw those questions at you. So one of the questions that we have got is that crash daycare costs vary by regions and locations. So, is there a specific ceiling on the amounts, or the expectations are just random?
No, so as far as the daycare cost is concerned, because we house around 8,000 close platform, we do have averages with respect to the daycare fee across India and across cities. The Indian daycare average across all important cities is sitting at around 12,000 per month per child. If we look at metro, 12 to 15,000 per month per child. If we look at non-metros, it'll be around 8,000 per month per child. So across India, it sits at around 10 to 12,000 per month per child in terms of the daycare fee. So yes, it does vary per region, but there are averages that are coming through when you analyze the cities and the regions. The other thing is that, when we looked at the creche funding, one of the things that emerged was that a larger portion of the organizations are funding the benefit up to a cap. So a lot of organizations look at the cities of importance for them. So if, for example, if it's Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, they look at it, the averages that the platform allows them, that, across the 2,000 odd centers across these three cities, the average is sitting around 10,000, 12,000 per month per child, and they decide their cap accordingly. That, this is an average cap that I would want to start with, or would I want to start with the min, or would I want to really be at the max because I want to be fully compliant. So if Hyderabad and Bangalore is maxing at around 25,000 or 30,000 per month per child, let me fund up till as much as the max because I want to show day one complete compliance on this particular benefit. So we have ranges across each of the cities, and the organization decides basis their journey how they want on a, because that's the budget that allows them. Would they want to peg themselves the average and the medium, or would they want to be day one compliant? Want to fund every single daycare in the city.
So being fully compliant, as I understand, is when they're funding the entire amount, which is prevalent across the cities that they are operating in.
Absolutely. But the average daycare fee in India is around 10 to 12,000 per month per child. So a lot of organizations that's why sit in that band of 5,000 to 10,000 or 10,000 to 15,000 per month per child in terms of funding the benefit.
Okay. So then again, a very interesting question we have is, for companies with a small number of eligible employees, is a full rollout still expected?
Absolutely. So we've asked this a few times, and for companies, as long as you're 50 plus employees, you have to show, a rollout. You have to have an implement to this, and for you to prove there has to be a process, has to be a way to discover. It may be that only single using this benefit because organized, but you have the body of the benefit with respect to compliance.
Okay. And this 50 plus is basically the workforce we are talking about, and not just female employees, right? Because somebody in the chat is mentioning this, but it's just the workers,
be all
50
employees,
plus workers.
And it won't even
all
just
employees.
be the permanent employees. It will be your permanent employees, your contract, your blue collared, all your employees in that location will get added, even the consultants now. So that's the newer third party employees also in the definition spread when they were defining 50 plus employees in an office. And that is being governed by the Social Security Code, where they're mentioning that it should be 50 plus workers and not just 50 plus employees or 50 plus female employees. That's right.
So another question we have. Another question we have here, another very interesting question, that we are a 100% remote company. If we go with reimbursement and some employees don't use the benefit, are there consequences for the employer? No. So again, over here, there are no consequences if employees don't use the benefit. However, what you need to, as an employer, show a body to the benefit. So you have to have a policy, you have to have a process, you have to have a platform. Now, in the reimbursement approach, it is not the most compliant approach. So, for example, now with the codes of Social Security,
expecting digital reporting around this benefit. In fact, we've had certain labor audits that have happened in the recent past where the submittable proofs around this particular benefit in the organization. There was a request to actually share MIS around the number of employees using the benefit, daycare names, daycare addresses, daycare PANs, what is the service across these daycares and what's the fee around this daycare that is being used. So with that entire reporting expected out of an organization, a flat allowance or a reimbursement may not necessarily work. So that's the reason the compliant way to implement this benefit is to at least, have a body of the benefit where you are controlling what daycares are being given out to the employees. How is it that that's being given out? So for example, in the ProEves platform, when we support organizations in the reimbursement approach, we have, the entire decision making or the admission process sits with us. So we know that only the daycares that are there on the platform of ProEves are being made available to the employees. The organization knows that. Which daycare is being picked up is also something that the organization is aware of. Admission MIS is coming to the organization every single month in terms of these daycares from the platform were picked up, and complete details about all the daycares, PAN, GST, 30 screening elements, as well as what service was picked up and what fees was picked up was there. So that's the body of the benefit that the government does expect you as an employer to have, because one of the underlying themes, if you look at the codes or any of the preceding laws, is monitoring the benefit. So that's one of the themes that the government has emphasized on, that as an employer, you have to monitor the benefit. Now, you may not have the bandwidth to monitor the benefit in terms of which daycares, why, how, but as ProEves, we will do that on your behalf.
Yeah, so we have a very specific question to ProEves, Ketika, and since we are talking about ProEves here, that how you are helping organizations to streamline this benefit. So this question is again very interesting, that are your empaneled childcare centers equipped to take care of children with disability, example, blindness, deafness, neurodivergent conditions?
Exactly. So there are certain centers that are inclusive. So the platform will always have these centers that are inclusive with different kind of inclusivity range. So we have centers that accommodate ADHD kids. We have centers that do accommodate specially abled of different nature. Not every center is inclusive center, but definitely certain centers are. We also have certain centers, in addition to that, taking specially abled, also allow late evening and night care shifts. So as an organization, if you have employees that are servicing late evening or servicing different countries in a night shift, those are also provisions that the platform allows you, because there are certain centers that work 24/7 on the platform.
So basically all the permutations and combination that you can think of
Absolutely.
with respect to what a daycare can offer, we have that on the ProEves platform.
Absolutely.
Be it night shift, be it children with special needs, be it morning shifts. So everything you can think of under the sun is being provided at the ProEves platform.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think we have just time for 2 more questions, and there are a lot of compliance related questions here. So I'll take last one from the compliance related one. Is this law applicable when work from home option is given to employees for 6 months post the maternity leave? Is like the companies need to still provide the benefit if it's work after you give a work from home option?
Yes, you do have to. So as far as this benefit is concerned, we've clarified it from the government, we've clarified it from the authorities, that even completely work from home organizations, some organizations that have certain functions working from home, some organizations that have hybrid work weeks, all of these models does not take away the compliance with respect to this benefit. You still have to provide a childcare benefit, because if you look at the 2 recent guidelines that are the central guidelines that have come into place, as recent as 2024, the national standards and protocol, they encourage you as an organization to support employees near the office as well as near the home. So that is the guidance that the government is giving, that we do understand after COVID, a lot of work arrangements have changed. And now a larger set of employees could be working out of the office, and the work weeks have also been redefined. And hence, with such redefinitions, the creche may not only be relevant near office, it could be a support that you can offer near home for those population of workers that are working more near their residences.
Okay, perfect. So as I said, there are a lot of questions regarding the compliance, but I think you've answered most of them. So last question, since a lot of people are interested in the childcare benefit and I've got a great deal of insights from you, if the leadership wants to move fast, what's the one thing HR should avoid doing while rolling out childcare benefit?
Yeah. So as far as, I think one of the things we definitely would encourage you to do, not as much avoid, but yeah, to do, is genuinely think about access from a flexibility perspective, because we've had two situations that have really sort of set back organizations on this benefit. One is where in a hurried manner, organizations have implemented a reimbursement or an allowance approach without body to the benefit, and then have had to come to us after 2 months saying that, oh my, we've had an explosion on this reimbursement that we've allowed, and now everyone has these receipts that are coming our way through ChatGPT. We don't know if this daycare exists. We don't know if this is a real daycare. So that's one of the themes we've struggled on, where we've taken on these organizations and we've well supported them and built the benefit around the reimbursement and the body of the reimbursement, because that is important. The second thing is, we've had a lot of organizations in a hurry implement the benefit with just 2-3 options near office. And they've said that, we just had to show compliance, Kritika and, ProEve's team. And we did this with just 2 centers and 3 centers. And then after launching, we had this slew of parents that came to us saying, please solve travel for us. How are we expected to move with our child to office for these 3 centers that you have nicely selected for us and launched a great benefit, but how are we supposed to use it? And that's when again they've come to us and said that, now this benefit is live, and could you make it flexible in the coming 2 to 3 months, because that's phase 2 for us. We do want for the flexibility to come in, because we don't want to solve for travel. So those are the 2 things we always say that, do think about first and then build the benefit, because compliance in a hurry doesn't always solve the real problem.
Yeah. So I think we just have 2 minutes left, and it was great interacting with you, Kritika. With your last answer, it's pretty clear that access and flexibility is what will help making the childcare benefit or providing childcare benefit a success for any organization. It's not only about funding, it's also about taking into account the access part of it and what your employees are actually looking for. So thank you, Kritika, and thank you everyone for attending this insightful webinar. We are at the time now, so we'll need to wrap up this session. We hope today's discussion has helped bring clarity on what childcare means in today's context and how organizations can approach it in a structured and practical way. Thank you once again for joining us, and we hope you found this session valuable. We'll be uploading the webinar recording on our LinkedIn page soon. For those who have not followed us yet, you can go to the chat, follow our LinkedIn page. If you have any unanswered questions, there is an email ID that has been given as part of the chat. You can post it, you can email us, and we'll reply to your email. And thank you everyone for your valuable time, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you, Kritika. Thank you for joining us. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.